Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have a 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe. We'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe, and this is the limited trim level we have here today. So there's about 5 different trim levels, I believe, when you're looking at the Santa Fe, plus you've also got the hybrid vehicle, which is going to be a little bit different, and we reviewed that separately, but there's a lot to like about these models. Now for 26, one thing they've done is they've gone away from the dual clutch 8-speed, and they've gone to more of kind of a standard torque converter, 8-speed automatic transmission. So not a big deal. Most people probably wouldn't even notice the difference anyways, but Hyundai decided to go that route. Now, a few other things in the limited model, they're all going to come with the captain's chairs as the second row, but now they optioned it so you can get the bench seating. So that would bump up your seating, obviously one more person, so if you're looking for that, that is a pretty great option. Then a few of the other things like the XRT got a different terrain mode, and then basically the range topping calligraphy got this really cool, I think they called it the pecan brown Napa interior. Well, I didn't have one today, trust me, it looks really good, so if you're considering going all out, that would be the one to look for. Okay, so enough of the specifics and changes for 26. Let's put it in drive. We'll go for a spin around and touch on some of those other features in here. Let's begin with what powers these Hyundai Santa Fe. So like I said, there is a hybrid option, but the non-hybrids are going to be a 2.5-liter turbocharged engine, and that's going to give you 277 horsepower. So like I said, that pairs with the 8-speed automatic. It's a lot of fun to drive, and there is going to be a standard front-wheel drive or an optional all-wheel drive. Being that we're up here in Minnesota, we are going to get mostly the all-wheel drive models, but fuel economy only changes from 29 mpg on the highway to 28 mpg when you go to the all-wheel drive. There is a little bit of a price tag. I think it's around $1,700 if you want an option for it, but it might be worth it, especially if you're tackling these Minnesota winters like we are. You just get that sure-footedness, the bite, the traction, it all really works out, and really, you're not even gonna notice much for a fuel economy sacrifice. Now let's touch on the exterior features of the Limited. So this particular one does get the 20-inch wheels, and it's this really cool gray color. So this is the Ecotronic Gray. That's one thing that's fun about Hyundai. They've got some pretty cool colors in the lineup. You can even do matte paint colors. There's a green that looks amazing on these Santa Fe's now as well. So that's something kind of fun to consider. If you want something that's not just the regular silver, white, or black, which obviously they do still offer, but you're looking for something that's got a little more kind of pizzazz to it. As I was sitting down there at the boat launch, I noticed a couple bass boats coming in, and I feel like this paint kind of had some of that bass boat feel to it. It's got a little bit of a fleck or a sparkle in it, and it does look pretty cool. Now, a few other things on the exterior of the Santa Fe. Obviously, it went through some changes over the last couple years, and one big thing being that it's now a third-row SUV again. I believe the Hyundai Santa Fe's are old, were also third-row SUVs, but just having that little bit of space, if you don't want to go all the way up to the largest Palisade, that now did get a refresh as well, you can still keep the third row in here. On the exterior of the Santa Fe Limited, there's going to be a few different kind of options, whether it's the grille or the treatment on the outside of the vehicle, but it's really cool as you get those kind of H-pattern LED headlights. It looks cool, you definitely notice it coming down the road, and it's kind of a motif that runs through the entirety of the Santa Fe. You kind of catch that little H-pattern in the vents, in the back seats, it's kind of all over, and it does make it kind of have a little fun design to it. Now, this particular one will also get a power lift gate, so if you're loading up the kiddos, going on the cabin trip, you can just click it on the key fob, that will pop it open for you, and then this one kind of has unique power seats throughout the vehicle. So the third row, you can pull those handles and fold it down as it's a 60-40 split. There's also a little bit of underfloor storage, so if you want to keep some stuff out of sight or just something you want to leave in the vehicle, that's always really nice. And then the third row is so simple to just flip down, flip back up, but what's really cool, from the cargo area, you can actually press a button, and that's going to power fold that second row. It's a little slow going down, but it's a lot easier than walking around the side of the vehicle, getting out, moving that around, then going back to the vehicle if you're loading stuff up. So that's a pretty cool option, and then you can actually press it again, and that will bring the second row back up. So that's really nice and convenient that you're not going back and forth if you're loading stuff up. And then what else is cool, that second row makes it really easy to access into the third row. Because it is power, there's a couple different buttons you can press. One down below, that's gonna unlock the seat and then actually just be able to slide it forward. And then there's also one kind of on the armrest, and that's gonna power fold the seat forward. So there's a lot of ways to kind of configure, move them around, store it, haul stuff. It's really pretty convenient. And those seats are also gonna be power. So the backrest is gonna be power, so you can get pretty comfortable back there. Now, like I said, the third row in the Santa Fe isn't the largest. If you want a ton of room, the Palisade would definitely be the one to consider there. But I think if it's just the little kiddos back there or smaller adults, they're not going to have any problems getting into the third row. I crawled back there. I'm 6'1". Yes, I would fit, but if I was riding around a lot more, you'd probably want to be in the Palisade. But like I said, most of the time, I assume it's little kiddos going back there. People are going to be more than comfortable in the second row, and then just be a little bit tighter in the third row, but it definitely does work. Now, what's cool about back there's USB-C charging. You can also have another zone climate control back there that you can configure from the third row, so everybody's going to be comfortable and charged up when you're on the move. Now, in the limited model, the second row will also get heated seats. So if you've got the kids in the back and they're out of the car seats, they're going to be nice and comfortable back there. Or going out on date night, 4 people are going to be extremely comfortable because those seats, like I said, slide back and forth. So you do get a lot of room back there. And there's lots of storage. There's lots of convenience. One thing that's really nice, they put a hard backing on the seat. So if you got the kids in the little car seats kicking away, they're not going to ruin the cloth or the kind of leatherette material on the seat. So Hyundai really thought that one out. Then there's also storage, so you can actually access this armrest. So if I'm driving, somebody wants something out of here, I don't have to go digging around looking for it. You can actually pick it up from back there, which is pretty cool. Then just a little bit of storage down below with, again, USB-C charging in the back of my seat for the second row. So what about the ride and drive? Now that we're out here on the highway in the driver's seat, it's really nice. So these particular seats in the Limited are not only going to be heated for those Minnesota winters, but when that summer comes back around, they're also going to be ventilated seats for the driver and the passenger. This is a power seat. It's got lumbar on my side. And my favorite feature, the heated steering wheel. It is so nice. It was cold this morning. I think it was only about 35 degrees when I got started. And jumping in with the heated seat and then the 2-level heated steering wheel is the best. Not to mention, this also has a remote start on the key fob, so you can fire it up, get it nice and toasty for you. I love that feature that it comes standard, and it's really easy to use. Now, again, back to the ride and drive though, it's great. It's kind of the tail end, I would say, of road construction season, so some of the roads are a little chewed up, but like when you're hitting those potholes or kind of road joists, all that kind of stuff, you feel it just kind of glides over the top of them. It's a really smooth vehicle, and that's what's great about these Santa Fe's. You know, you feel like you've got a lot of comfort, technology, and then a ton of safety in here as well. So Hyundai's safety suite is pretty immense. It's going to have blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control. You can hear when I kick the blinker on or off, there's actually a little camera in my digital gauge cluster. That is one of my favorite features as well. I wish all new vehicles had that. It's so easy. If I want to change lanes, I kick it on. It gives me a clear look out of the side of the vehicle. Plus, you've got the blind spot, and in my digital gauge cluster, it will also show me little arrows if someone's kind of sneaking up where I can't see them. So speaking of this technology, there's a 12.3-inch display in front of me for the digital cluster, just kind of your pertinent information like your trip computer stuff, but I've also got my Apple CarPlay, which is going to be wireless on the other 12.3-inch display here. So that system is lightning fast. Some of the new systems today don't work as good. I think this is one of the better ones out there. It's quick, it's responsive. The iOS 26 update also gives you this cool screen on the 4th menu, so you can have a clock, weather, your calendar stuff going on in there. It's pretty sweet, and it works. It's just going to keep your attention focused on the road, and that's the whole point. So I've got my phone down here on the wireless charging pad. You actually have 2, so driver and passenger can keep your phones charged up. There's also USB-C charging up here. There's so much charging in this vehicle. If you're going off on that road trip, going away for a little while, everybody can keep your devices charged up. They're going to be very happy about that. And you also get a huge storage area underneath, whether it's for your purse or anything else you're bringing with you. The door pockets have nice storage. And this is also memory seats. So if you've got 2 drivers who are going to be driving the vehicle a lot, that is also one of those kind of underrated little features. But the Limited does give you a lot of equipment and cool stuff in here. So I'd say when you're driving around 95% of the time, I think this 4-cylinder is great. The turbo gives you power right away. There's also selectable drive modes. So what's cool is you can pick between a normal, sport, my drive, and snow. So you can kind of fine tune your driving style. And then the 8-speed, there's paddle shifters. So if you feel like having a little fun, getting a little sporty, having maybe a little too much fun in the snow, you can certainly do that. But I mean, it's just, like I said, 95% of the time, if I'm just cruising around in this vehicle, I'm more than happy. It's quiet in here. There's lots of great technology. The safety stuff is good, but not overly intrusive. It works like how it's supposed to, and that is great. It's not really pulling the steering wheel all over the place. You can simply click the button, turn stuff off if you don't want to use it. The adaptive cruise control, if that's something you haven't had before, setting that, it kind of picks that distance to the vehicle in front of you, makes it so easy to eat up a bunch of miles. There's just a lot to like here in the Santa Fe. Not to mention the exterior styling. I think it's really cool looking as well. I believe when Hyundai designed this vehicle, what they wanted was for the back cargo area to be able to open, to have you just kind of hang out back there. Whether you're at maybe a ball game, at a campsite, just hanging out, there's lots of space, you've got charging everywhere, like I said. It's just a vehicle that can kind of do it all. And with a third row SUV that's getting almost 30 miles per gallon, that's pretty amazing as well. So a few other little things in here. The backup camera button is pretty cool. You can actually press that. I think when you're stopped, you're going really slowly, and it gives you a full 360 view. Obviously, if you also put it in reverse, that's going to pop up with parking sensors around the vehicle. The backup camera is great. And this also has park assist, and it's even got the smart park feature. So if you've got like a really tight garage stall or a really tight parking space, maybe someone gets a little too close to you at the grocery store, you can actually remote start the vehicle and pull it out of the parking spot. I think it's kind of a gimmicky feature, but if it's something when you needed it in a pinch, you would be certainly glad you had it. So it's just Hyundai offering a ton of really cool equipment. Now, if we're talking MSRP, these are going to start in the 30s. This particular one is pretty well loaded up, so MSRP on this one's going to be about $48,000, and there's one more step up from here. So if you want to go to the calligraphy and get absolutely everything, it's going to change the wheels, the outside a little bit as well. But I think this is kind of a sweet spot. It's very close to the average new car price in the US at about $50,000, but you're getting a ton of equipment. Not to mention you've also got the double sunroofs in here. I mean, those power folding seats, the CarPlay and the infotainment that works so well. Plus, good looks on the outside. I think if you're shopping for a third row SUV that's easy to drive, easy to park, and looks cool, this is definitely one to add to the list to come out, take for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 2026 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.